This is a tutorial to show a little bit about more help on creating the torso of the character. So I'm going to start by editing my design images in Photoshop. So I'm going to choose this character and have these two images, and I want to line them up. And to do that, I'm just going to do Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and then click on this tab and paste. To resize it, first I'm going to change the opacity so I can see these on top of each other, and then Control T to adjust the size of this, and hit escape. So if you hold down shift, it'll scale proportionally, and I want to at least try to scale it proportionally. And it kind of looks like the heel of the foot on this background one is actually here, not where the toe is. So I'm just sort of matching this heel to that heel, and I can see that the head doesn't match, so I think I'm actually going to have to stretch this a little bit. Something like that. Maybe move down, trying to match everything: the chins, bottom of the breast, the hips, heel, everything. So pretty close. I'm going to hit enter and then C for the crop tool, and I'll actually pull this up a little bit to get the top of that image and pull it in because we don't need this extra part on the side. Enter, and let's put the opacity back up. And so now I have these two different layers. Yeah, we don't have the top of that head on this one. That's okay, and this head looks a little squashed, but that's alright. It's still going to be somewhat of a helpful guide. So I'm going to save these two images out, Control Shift S, and I'm going to go into, so I'll go into Documents, Maya, Projects, Default, and we'll do Source Images, and I'll just call this Character Side. These are JPEG. And then let's hide that layer, Control Shift S, and Character Front. And let's go back to that Maya folder, Maya Projects, Default, Source Images, Character Front, Save. Okay, back to Maya. Since I'm set in the default, I have this up right here. I can hide that display, heads up display, polycount. I can turn that off. So I'm set to the default project. So first I'm going to change to my front camera view, and the way I like to do that is to hold down the spacebar for the hotbox and click in the center, and you see I have all these camera choices, so I'm going to choose front and release. To add the image here, I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image, and browse to where you put your images. You can see, because I'm currently set to this default project, it's going to look in the source images folder where I put that. So this is the front view, so I'll get that character front image in there. And let's go to side. So again, hold down the spacebar for hotbox, click in the center, and I think that would be right view. It doesn't really matter. View, image plane, import image, side. And then when I go back to perspective, I can see these two things in there. It's important that you save the images the same size exactly, and that way they come in the same way. We have that kind of thing with the heel, where the heel of this one is, okay, it's not perfect, but it's, you can play with a little bit more. So now I have a guide to help me model the torso. So I'm going to go in this right view, and I can use this to help me work on my shape. So following the class stuff, we have create a cylinder, and we said 18 axis division for height divisions, create, and from this view I can start to move it. R for scale, scale it up. Let's get it around the size of the torso. something like that. Okay. And we wanted to delete off half of it, so let's try this from the top, would be better. I can see from the way I've set this up that I can't, select exactly half of this, so I think what I'll do is just rotate it 90 degrees in the Y, like so. I can just type in 90 here too. And now you see I have I can more easily select half of that, so right mouse click, face, and then delete. And then we also want to open it up, just to get rid of the caps, top and bottom. So I have these face centers on, which is kind of getting in my way. Make sure I didn't select any of the outside. So now I have that half thing. If the image planes are bothering you and getting in your way, you can go to Show Image Planes. So you can look at the object without those. Show Image Planes. Okay, let's go back to that right view, I think it was. There we go. And I think I deleted off the other side, so that's funny. Let's just do a minus 90 degree rotation here. Okay, so now I can see that shape. 4 for wireframe, 5 for shaded, so I can see through this. And so now what I do is I'm going to start by selecting edge rows. So right mouse click, edge, double click, and it went all the way around the object, which is actually more than I want. So let's hold down Control and marquee select, and that'll deselect all of those. And then I can just scale these guys in, sort of move them, and double click here, kind of move it, sorry, R key, scale it in. You can start to get a little bit of the shape of the body here, just scaling and moving. Maybe went a little too far in that one. And now again I have to Control select because it's selecting the full edge of that. Just make it a little smaller and then move it back like so. Okay. So that works from that angle. Let's try this from the front now. What I might try to do is some soft selection, but the other thing I'm going to correct before I move on is select the image plane here and just move it back a little bit, because or should it be forward a little bit? Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at this from behind. Okay, so now I can see this full object because it's out of the way of that. So I'm going to move these in, but I don't want to affect the center line. So one approach to that might be soft select. So if you right mouse click, go to vertex, and click on a vertex, and then hit the B key, B as in boy. Do you see how it's showing you that whole area that's affected? And see, it's going to affect a range of points. If I hold down the B key and then click and drag from left to right, you can see that it's adjusting the range at which it's going to affect. So I'll make it smaller so it doesn't include anything along the center line, and now I can adjust that and it'll move the points for me. So that's a pretty good start, and then from here you might want to hide the image planes and start modeling additionally. So because we've only got front and side, and you might want to make some additional adjustments. So one thing I might do first is probably add some detail to this, because we don't have enough detail to have the breasts in there. So I'm going to click right here and show the modeling toolkit, and there's this multi-cut tool right here, and if I hold down the Control key, you can see I can put an extra edge loop anywhere I want it. So I'll put one in right there, and maybe I'll show those image planes again. And let's do the right mouse click edge, double click, 4 for wireframe, and let's scale again. Something like that. And then of course, you can keep adding rows, but we are trying to keep this pretty low poly. Might want to do some additional adjustments, and soft selection could be good for this. Yeah, B, by the way, turns it on and turns it off. So if you ever see this kind of orange and yellow and black and you're like, what's going on? Why is it moving this other stuff? It's because of soft select, and just hit the B key. But yeah, I might want to sort of push in here a little bit. Whoops, let's get the soft select on. Just give this a little bit more shape. Can also use this, it'll adjust it in a couple planes at once. Now I can see that that might be affecting that one. I'm going to hold down B and just get a smaller area here. And again, hold down B. I'll show you a trick to make sure those are in the center line afterwards. And I'm kind of just using my imagination here to think about what these shapes might look like. I want to deal with the top here. We want to leave a gap for the neck and connect some of these. So I'm going to right mouse click, go to Edge, select here, select here. By the way, to get this modeling toolkit up, I can just click this guy, that hides it, shows it again. And I can just click bridge, and it builds a bridge there. And you can see I have this bridge replacing my cursor. So I'm going to click on the select tool again, right mouse click Edge, whoops, select the wrong one, there we go, Edge, shift select Edge, bridge. And for this last one, again, go to the selection tool. I might adjust the position of some of these verts. W for move tool, moving these around. So that one's a little bit different, right? Because I'm not just bridging these two faces together. So for that, I'm going to right mouse click and select all the sides of this hole and go to Mesh, Fill Hole. And then I have the top there, and so then I can model a little bit more. I might move some of these down for the shoulders. Move it out a little bit. These little squares will move 2 directions at a time, but it won't move it up and down, which works well when you're working in this 3D view. Let's look again in our front view. I'm starting to get that shape in there, and sort of imagine the arm coming out maybe here. Maybe you'll want to pull those down a little bit more, and maybe select all 4 of those, R for scale, and scale those out a little bit so you have a larger base for the arm when you extrude out that face. And yeah, I mean, you can add some more edge loops like we did with the multi-cut. That was multi-cut, hold down the control key and then just click and you can add those. The idea though is, as you look at this, is start with the fewest number of points that you need to define the object and then gradually add more. The more dense you make it, the more difficult it is to model, so keep it really low poly, get as far as you can with the points that you have. And then go in and add more points. Don't start adding a lot of points from the start, or you're going to make this much harder for yourself. Might move some of these spine points in. By the way, the hotkey to switch to selection where you don't have like the move tool in the way is Q. So I just say Q and that puts me back in there. I can move that in. Start to get into feeling of sort of shoulder blades there. Oops. Maybe pull this one back out a touch. Anyways, and if you hit 3, you can see what it looks like smoothed. And yeah, it's starting to look like a halfway decent torso. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful, and yeah, please ask more questions and I can make more tutorials.